For the next 35 minutes, I would like you to focus your mind on the words which I am going to share with you today. Today we shall talk about the power of the thought. In the Bible, Mark chapter 7, verses 20 to 23. What comes out of a person is what defiles them. For it is from within, out of a person's heart, that evil thoughts come. Sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, lewdness, envy, slander, arrogance, and folly, and many, many other thoughts. All these thoughts come from inside and they defile a person. Gautama Buddha said, there is nothing so disobedient as an undisciplined mind, and there is nothing so obedient as a disciplined mind. In the Guru Granth Sahib, it says, Sob Chintana Govinda Ramana Nirmala Sadhu Sangha. Bless me with sublime thoughts and divine contemplation in the company of the immaculate Sangat of the Saint, O Lord. Let's reflect, introspect ourselves. Have you ever felt like a stranger, a shadow standing in the corner of the deeper recesses of your own mind? On occasions, do you feel trapped in this cartwheel of your own thoughts going round and round and round, listening to the evil whispers of Maya talking to us from here? Have you ever felt a victim of smokes and mirrors within the mind with nowhere to run? And the more you try to run away, to resist these thoughts, the more the beat of the thoughts seemingly gets louder and louder in our heads. When was the last time we sat down and introspected the dark world of thoughts that we live in? We have our car serviced, we inspect the house, we look at our clothing. If it's old clothing, we throw them out. But when's the last time we actually looked at our thoughts and introspected ourselves? Why am I thinking like this? What was the purpose? What was the end result of this thought which came into me? We suffer from thoughts of fears reducing us to tears, anger, frustrations, jealousy, hatred, ego, attachment, lust, vengefulness. And so much so that in some cases, the whisper of the Maya leads us into a darker recess of the mind creating within us those emotions, in some cases leading us to commit horrific acts such as rape, murder, child abduction, woman battery, child abuse, etc. And the whole world is drowning in this ocean of thought, except a very few who are drowning in the dark oceans. These dark thoughts are no more than a creation of our unfulfilled desires, because we are looking for fulfillment in this material world. And this material world will change. It's just the way it is. What is here today may not be here tomorrow. Who you think is yours today will definitely let you down tomorrow. It happens. Families let you down, friends let you down. That's just the way we coexist in this world. It's the karmic footprint. And all these desires and expectations we had on these relationships with our exterior existence that we thought we were close to, and they did not fulfill them, these are unfulfilled desires. And this creates a dark area in our mind. So all our dark thoughts are creation of no more than unfulfilled desires. Understand one thing. We may be able to mask our thoughts in this world, but thoughts cannot be hidden in the spiritual world from the divine. And as such will create those karmic footprints which we will experience in our future lives. What we sow, we shall reap. Now there are two types of thoughts. One thought is known as Chetan thought, and the other is known as the Achet thought. The conscious thought is the Chetan thought, and the unconscious thought is the Achet thought. In the scriptures, Nar Achet Papate Dar Re. O human, be fearful of the sin arising from the unconscious mind. Thoughts are connected to our every single area of life. Thoughts affect our words, our moods, our attitudes, the choices we make, and our relationship with the divine. Through the power of the thought, you can establish a beautiful relationship with the divine. Through the power of the thought, you can destroy your relationship with the divine. Thoughts are like the waves of the sea. Wave after wave, relentless. Some thoughts inducing stress, some thoughts releasing stress, and some thoughts that tie us down to a lifetime of pain and misery. And thoughts can set us free from the pains of expectations. We sit in meditation, and as we try to concentrate on the Shabd Mantra, the floodgate of thoughts open. And the more we try to concentrate, the more rampant the thought becomes. The more we try to control them, the more chaos they create within us. The more we try to bring them into the moment, the more deeper they travel into the past. Please understand that just as our thoughts are, so will our hearts become. Only if we allow ourselves to be crafted in the word of the divine, in the Sangat of the preordained, can we renew our mind. And the more peace and harmony will enter our lives. So what are thoughts? Where do they arise from? What impact do they have on our relationship with our loved ones, in society, and with the divine? What can we do to lessen the grip of these damaging thoughts? First, let us understand the relationship between the brain, our consciousness, the intellect, and the environment. Brain is simply an organ of relentless thoughts. 24 hours a day, it produces one thought after another. Where do these thoughts come from? These thoughts arise the brain when it's penetrated by the experiences of the outer world through our sensory organs, our eyes and our ears, etc. As such, will influence those thoughts, which will also leave traces in our subconscious mind. Constantly, our subconscious heart becomes a storehouse of the thought. And when a certain situation occurs, those thoughts that we had forgotten about rises up with vengeance, giving rise to emotions and flashbacks, shattering our peace of mind. And although one day when we pass away, the brain organ will die, but the conscious thought will exist. So here's another teaching we need to understand. This concept is known as Gurmat and Man-mat. So what is Mat? Mat is that defined intellect that was meant to decipher our thoughts between good and bad before they leave a trace in our consciousness. Therefore, Mat is also known as the filter of the conscience. The driving force of the Mat is interpreted in two ways, one of two ways. One by the mind, known as Man-mat, meaning the intellect of the mind. The other, Gurmat, meaning that interpretation driven by the Guru intellect. Please understand one thing. If the mind is driven by Man-mat, then the outcome of our actions will be always posturing towards the me, my way, my understanding, ego, aggression, anger, jealousy. Why? Because over the many reincarnations, our mat, our intellect, has been polluted by the influence of Maya. And that mat, which was once pure, is now polluted, has become impure. Consequently, we have been distant from the word of the divine and the Sangat of the pious. Sangat meaning the company, resulting in us losing our soul, our purpose, our essence, our truth, our source. And the prominent thought in a mind like that, when it comes to spirituality, will be, I do not need a preordained master. I do not need a guru. I do not need my spiritual text. I will control my thoughts by myself. Good luck. The speed of light is estimated to travel at 186,000 miles per second. The scriptures say that the speed of the thought is much faster. The speed of the thought is such that in an instant, the mind travels much faster than the speed of light and the speed of sound. So much so that it will travel all the four corners of this world and come back in microseconds. So to control, to harness this power of the thought, and in addition, the karmic footprints that we've left over many, many lives that we've existed, in addition, the Maya-infested mind, in addition, the illusion of Kaljug around us, a spiritualist will understand is an impossible task. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, in the scriptures of Gurbani, alludes to this fact. Aur panch ham ek jana kyun rakho kar bahr mana mare lute neet neet kisi aage kari pukar jana Sri Ram namayo charamana aage jamadal bekhma ghana. Guruji says, there are 5 of them, referring to lust, anger, greed, attachment, and pride. And in this battle, I am all alone. How can I protect the peace of my home? My mind, they are beating and plundering me over and over again. This repetition, this whisper of the Maya thought running in your mind over anger, frustration, sometimes high, sometimes low, but just this constant stealing the beauty around you. You sit in heaven, but your mind is sitting in hell. And Guruji says they are beating me, plundering me over and over again. And to whom can I complain? Then the message comes through. Chant the name of the Supreme Lord, O my mind. If you miss this opportunity, you will have to face the demons of death in your afterlife. So the guidance of the Sangat of the preordained souls is absolutely necessary, because this fight is way too much for a single person. And under their guidance, the blessings of the preordained masters, the true Guru, we can achieve the victory of the Maya-infested mind. Why do I always stress preordained masters? Because when you read the spiritual text, everybody will take their own interpretation. But those who have lived the life, lived the marg, their interpretation is going to be pure, because they've done the path. That's all it is. When they teach, there is no hostility in their teaching. But when you see many others and they're doing a very literal translation, they don't understand the spirit of the text, and then there's always controversy. They're always arguing, Guru said this, Jesus said this, Jesus said that, Muhammad said this, Muhammad said. But once you rise above that, you understand beyond the written word. So the opportunity to serve a Sangat is a blessing only when the divine is pleased. And in absence of a preordained master, then stay with your divine scriptures, whichever you belong to, whether they be the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, the Gita, the Guru Granth Sahib, stay there. When you spend time with a true preordained saint, slowly, with each breath you spend in that company, your heart will begin to fill up from the fountain of their love. Not your love, their love. And as you begin to walk hand in hand, you walk step in step. Santaka marga dharma ki pauri. The way of the sadhu is the spiritual ladder on which you climb towards your higher consciousness. So as you walk step in step, breath by breath, with your preordained spiritual master, the scriptures, then blessing by blessing, you will begin to release yourself from your old self. However, be warned. We live in the dark age. You will find spiritual masters all over the internet. In every corner, in every city, in every country, there's a spiritual shop. They're selling you peace, happiness, they're selling you joy, and yet they themselves are completely unhappy. But they're selling you this happiness. They are lost themselves, but they're giving you this peace of heaven. They're promising you enlightenment, promising you emancipation. Keep away. Because true message of God is not bought by money. It's a love, exchange of love. The true master will observe you, your actions and your thoughts. They will want nothing from you. Give them your heart and watch what they will give you back in return. Sab sukh har ras bhogane, santa sabha mil gyan. All comforts, all peace, and the essence of the Lord are enjoyed by acquiring spiritual wisdom. Where? In the society of the saints. Please, this is really, really important. I want to share with you. People are writing books upon books and upon books. All comforts, all peace, and the understanding of the essence of the Lord are enjoyed by acquiring spiritual wisdom in the society of the saints. And in the company of such pious souls, when you follow their teaching, your light will merge into the divine light. Your intuitive consciousness will eventually merge into the divine consciousness. They will realign your thoughts if they ever lose the spiritual frequency. And in that Sangat, the process of removing the garbage will have started. In their company, you will inherit the blessings. And through these blessings, here's the process. First, the Shabd communication. What do I mean by the Shabd communication? The mantra, the spoken mantra with the divine will start. Then as you progress over time, the spoken word will turn into the unspoken word. So whereas, for example, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, oh Ram, Ram, oh Allah, Allah, oh Jesus, Jesus, then eventually it becomes the unspoken word. Once it becomes the unspoken word, it will begin to merge in the heart. And once it merges into the heart, it will emerge out of the heart. How? As a frequency. Ton. A resonance of the Shabd will start to vibrate within you. And as the frequency of the Shabd becomes stronger and stronger, the power of this resonance will begin to burn away the Maya of the mind. They will burn your karma. They will renew your destiny. They will make you reborn again as an awakened soul. But carry on repeating the Shabd infinite times, over and over again. Simara, Simara, Naam, Barambar. Stay in the Sangat and do Seva. And in this way, the devotee and the Guru will become one. Har har jana doi ek hai, beb bichar kach nahe, jalte upaj tarang jiyon, jal hi bikhe samahe. Like the wave of the ocean goes back into the ocean, so will the devotee go back into the divine. The evening was about to set. The Sangat was in attendance, listening to the divine words of the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. A couple walked into the Darbar with a young child. The father's name was Gurmukh Singh from Peshawar. After asking permission from Guruji, they spent some time in the service of Guruji, stayed there, serving langar, free food to the Sangat, wiping the floors after the Darbar, washing the dishes of the Sangat. One day Guruji walked by and noticed this young lad serving food to the Sangat. With much love and dedication, Guruji approached the young child and asked, "Son, what is your name?" The young child replied, "Guruji, my name is Yoga." Then Guruji asked, in fun, "For whom are you worthy?" Yoga means to be worthy of, yoga. And Guruji said in fun, "For whom are you worthy, son?" And the child replied, "I am worthy of you." Guruji smiled, "Son, if you are worthy for me, then I am worthy of you." He gave an embrace to Yoga and walked off. Soon the time came for the parents to leave and go back to the village from where they had come. As they approached Guruji to ask for permission to leave, Guruji asked if they could leave Yoga behind in Seva. The parents agreed and left back to Peshawar. Yoga soon became a trustworthy devotee of Guruji, and over the coming months, Yoga learned much about the path of spirituality. Eventually, Yoga came to a marriageable age, and his parents came to Guruji asking permission if they could take Yoga away to get him married. Guruji gave permission on the proviso that after the wedding or whenever Guruji summons Yoga, he should immediately return. The day came for Yoga's marriage. The house was full of laughter and joy, plentiful food, music. And Yoga sat down for his lama, his nuptials. During his second lam, and lam is basically you go around the Holy Guru Granth Sahib and you do this 4 times. Yeah. And on his second lam, a disciple of Guru Gobind Singh Ji walks up to Yoga and hand him a handwritten note. All the guests were surprised. By Yoga, so now he's sitting on his second lam. He took the note and he opened it. On the note it said, "Yoga, once you read this note, I want you to immediately proceed back to Anandpur Sahib." Without thinking twice, Yoga abruptly gets up and leaves his marriage ceremony, following Guruji's directives. As he was making his way back, a sense, a little thought, a little thought germinated in his mind. Who else would have done this for Guruji? Who else would have left their marriage for Guruji? And a sense of self-esteem and conceit entered his mind. This is how cunning Maya is. And slowly this single seed of thought took hold. And he forgot his master's commands and he just started thinking, I did this, I did that. And then in the mind, Maya started to talk to Yoga. Yoga, what a faithful Sikh you are. Who else would have left their marriage at a moment's notice from Guruji? Can there be any more faithful a devotee as you? And a sense of pride and ego took hold of his mind. On his way to Anandpur Sahib, there's a place in India known as Hoshiarpur. When he entered Hoshiarpur, it was evening, so he decided he'll sit down to rest. And as it happened, he was very close to a house of a prostitute. As he laid his head to rest, he heard some seductive music coming from this house. And this music started to arouse him. And he started to get seduced by the seduction of this music. And he glanced at this home from where this music was coming. And he noticed a very beautiful lady standing by the window. And as he took a quick glance through the window, Ahijogga fell for the charms of the courtesan, firmly in the grip of Maya. He forgot Guruji, he forgot Guruji's message, and listening to the Maya mind, a desire developed within him to meet this young courtesan. So in the control of the lust thought, he makes his way towards the courtesan's home. And I want you to understand how a subtle thought of self-conceit led to subtle ego, led to focusing on that music, led to the vision of the courtesan, and led to the desire of a sexual relationship, just from a very single thought. As he approached the door, there was a guard standing outside her door. And Jogga walked away, hoping that when the guard isn't there, he could go back. And every time he went towards the door, the guard was standing there. Eventually he gave up. Night passed, day broke, and in the morning, Jogga realized the error of his way. The Maya had simply done what the Maya does, knocked him off track. His heart full of remorse, he makes his way to Guruji. He enters the divan and presents himself and pays his respect to Guruji. Guruji looks at Jogga intensely and asks him what took him so long to get to Anandpur Sahib. Head lowered, in shame, Jogga gave no answer. Guruji then said, Jogga, I asked you a question. Where were you last night? Jogga in a stuttering voice explained what had happened last night. That if it was not for the God, then he would have made the gravest mistake of his life. Guruji looked at Jogga. Oh, Jogga, it was me that was standing outside as the God to stop you from committing sin. Do you remember the words, if you are for me, then I am for you? So understand that those who practice the Shabd mantra will always experience the same protection as Bhai Jogga. The Shabd and the blessings will protect one from the ugliness of the Maya thought. It will protect your dignity, your honor, not just in this life, also in our afterlife. However, any meditation that we do must be purposeful, with love and with virtues. Sat, Santokh, Daya, Nimrata, love. Sat, the truth. Santokh, contentment. Daya, compassion. Nimrata, humbleness. Love, Pyar. If we allow Maya mind to govern our thoughts, the Maya mind will simply become its own judge, its own jury, and it will justify its actions. So here's a very simple formula that you need to understand. Sangat. Sangat creates sanskar. Sanskar are thoughts. Repeated sangat creates sanskar. Repeated sanskar creates thoughts. Repeated thoughts create desires. Repeated desires create actions. Repeated actions create habits. Repeated habits create lifestyle, and repeated lifestyle creates our destiny. Therefore, Sangat, Sangat, Sangat. When we get these thoughts, what can we do? The simple answer is do nothing. There is no need to pay any attention to them. They will calm down. Thought waves will become stronger if we allow them to bother us. If we start paying attention to our thoughts, if we start giving them credence, if we allow events, some we recognize, others we cannot, to play in our mind, then every second of the day we'll be robbed of our peace. Do not fight thoughts. Let them flow, let them come, and let them go. Picking a fight with the mind is a very futile task. This mind is very powerful. We cannot escape it just with our own efforts. Guruji says, Jor na surti gyar ni vichar, jor na jugti chutte sansar. We have no power to gain intuitive understanding, spiritual wisdom, meditation. No power to find the way to escape from this world. So when the mind strays, focus your mind back onto the Sangat. Focus your mind back onto the Shabd. Every time the mind strays back into your Shabd, whether it's Allah, whether it's Ram, whether it's Jesus, whether it's Guru, whether it's Waheguru, whether it's Mool Mantra, bring it straight back. Stay with your spiritual master throughout your spiritual journey until the end. Either the master passes or you pass away. All around us, we are surrounded by an ocean of thoughts, good, bad, and ugly. The choice we have is either to be bothered by them or to become an observer. If we become bothered by them, we will suffer the pain. So, as hard as it is, become an observer. Back to the mantra, back to the mantra. To become distracted by our thoughts or let them pass by is a choice we have to make. To find peace or to remain the victim of this continuous repetition of the unfolding thoughts of the past. How many times his thoughts go back? Oh, they said this to me 10 years ago. They did this to me 20 years ago. They did this to me 15 years ago. They said this and they said this. How many times? We're all victims of that. It's a choice we need to make. Understand that every thought we send out into the universe, into the Akash, into the Mandal, is a vibration that never perishes. It will carry on vibrating in every particle of the universe, whether they be good thoughts or bad thoughts. They will materialize, they will create our karma, and they will define our future. So we should be in tune with our thoughts. Whether we believe in the divine or not, but we should be in tune with our thoughts. Understand, like a reflection of the face in the mirror, our thought waves are representative of who we are and how we perceive life. The perception of your life, your character, is going to be defined by the quality of your thought. Waves are the natural behavior of water. Similarly, the brain, the conscience, and the subconscious mind are all connected. They all work in a similar way. And thoughts are an amplification of the conscious and the subconscious mind. Now, the conscious mind, again, being the Chetan mind, and the subconscious mind known as the Achet mind. The essence of the mind is like the sun. Mantum Jyota Swarupa hai. Thoughts are like the rays of the sun. The essence is pure, but the rays will come and go. Therefore, do not lose yourself in the ray of your thoughts. Learn to stay in the essence. The discipline of the mind is a process of inward, contemplative transformation. Introspecting yourself through meditation. Why am I thinking like this? Where does this thought come from? What can I do? Why am I thinking about this? Not they did this and they did that and they did this. No, why am I responding in this way? But for you to first do that, you have to understand the structure. What structure? The relationship of the mind to its external surroundings. What is your relationship with your external surroundings? What is this structure that you have around you? Once you have recognized this structure, then in the Sangat of the divine souls, start this slow process to discipline, to control the mind. Manvas ave nanaka, the mind can be controlled jab puran kirpa hoye, when the divine blesses you. Start slowly to disassociate with those things which are creating pain for you. Don't hold on to them. Don't. Do not let history repeat itself over and over again. and start freeing the mind from its entanglements from the external phenomena. This external phenomena that we see is not here forever. It's going to go. It's an illusion. So do not get tangled up with it. Live in it, but like a lotus flower. Enjoy, drive nice cars, have big homes, enjoy your holidays, but don't get lost in them. And in this way, you will elevate from a lower state of consciousness to your higher state. And as you rise above the three gunas of Rajguna, Tamguna, and Satguna, you will find that as you rise, so will your thought rise from the Maya to the purity of the divine. God bless you all. Find Sangat of the divine. Make sure that you introspect, look at yourself. You will find a beautiful, beautiful path for yourself. Bless you all. Bless you all.